This thing is it got this many views and that many views, and there's a lot of criticism that people want to kind of trash the amount of views. I'll just give you the basic formula for us from the back-end standpoint. It's the top one. If you can click on that, zoom in so we can see you can pause the video. There you go. Zoom in and to see the data. There you go. So it shows 233 million views, okay? And it's at 678,000 likes. How many comments does it say? Go a little lower to see what the comments are, because it should show the comments as well. They apparently took the comments out. It should have comments. Say? Earlier was 50,000 comments.
Scrolling up.
Yeah, but don't get distracted. So stay on here real quick. So what does it say? 100. It doesn't show you the comments, Rob. Can you refresh it? It was showing comments earlier. I don't know what they did to remove the comments. It's so funny because comments was shown literally earlier today. Let me go on it from my phone, where it shows how many comments it was.
So 178 reposted it. Only 17,000 quotes. 678.
You want to know how many comments? Okay, here's it shows. On mine, it shows 54,500 comments is what it shows. By the way, you have to go back. So go back to Tucker's account. Go back to Tucker's account. Go up a little bit. And 54,500. So stay right there and just pause the video. Okay. So 54,500 comments. People are saying this is the biggest thing ever since sliced bread, 233 million. Obviously, a lot of people watched this interview. But the numbers work in a different way on how they do the math to get the insights. For example, Rob, did Brandon give you the interview we did with, what's his name, with Andrew Tate? If you have that, if you can just pull it up, I think you do have the picture somewhere around here that he took a screenshot of it just for people to know, because this is important to know the difference right there. So this is one of our interviews we did with Tate, okay? And each one of them, I think, has gotten 15 million views. Is this the second one or the first one? This is the second one. Okay. So we're just kind of opening up the hood and just showing it to you what happened. So this got 15.1 million views. If you show that, where it says 15.1 million views, Rob, if you can circle around this so the audience can see it, 15.1 million views. Perfect. If you look at impressions, it got 133 million views. On Twitter, that is that, if that makes sense. Now, if we go look at how many, how many comments this interview got with Tate. Let's just go look at the comments, because that's one of the ways the guys in the business, who we create content, we look at stuff like this, okay? The number of comments Tate's interview got, this one, is, what's the number if you want to read it? The comments is what? Right there, it says it.
70,000
70,000 comments. So Tate's interview got 70,000 comments. Tate is not more controversial than Trump and Tucker the day of GOP, meaning that interview still got around 20 million real views. That's still a big, huge interview being done. So, as much as people are saying, well, it's not this, it's not that. No, it's still a massive interview. It's still a massive eyeball. It still hit 20 million views where people stuck around to watch the whole thing, because you're also looking at retention, all of that stuff. You can get off of this thing here, Rob, if you want. So in reality, big interview, big numbers, but Twitter a couple months ago took off showing the real views, and they're only showing essentially the number that's impressions. Okay, so that's that part. Now,
so it's 11%. That's the number.
Give or take, just look at about a tenth. Whatever that number says, it's around a tenth.
Got it.
Still, 23 million views in less than 24 hours. That's a lot of freaking views to talk about.
I think that's it's a very, very important point that you're making, because if you know anything about CPM and views and Nielsen ratings and everything with that, like if you look at even Forbes' entire article today was Trump's interview with Tucker has more than 150 million views on X, Twitter. Here's why that's misleading. That's their number one story. And I'm a buddy of mine is like, they got 185 million views. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work that way. It's actually 18.5 million is probably the best way to put it. So right now, there's the Forbes article right there. So what was the number of views that we just had? 233. So it's more like 23 million.
Yeah. So if you just scroll,
make sense.
So Adam, basically, if you're on your phone and you just scrolled and that interview popped up, that's an impression.
Well, can we pull up that Tate interview like that we did? All right. 133 million impressions. We didn't get 133 million
of course.
views.
People just
we got
saw it
15.
on YouTube. They just saw it in
So
the
I think
in a
it's
square.
very important that what you're putting out there, Pat,
Yeah, I
is
mean, the
accurate.
point's been made. So you kind of now have an idea to look at what the numbers look like, okay? This is a debate amongst media companies because when you're selling ads, hey, which one is the real ad to get? Because I can get 10 times the amount of money or dollars. So, that's the marketing side. It is what it is, okay? Now, some of the things that he said, Trump said on the show yesterday with Tucker. I'll read a few of them, and then we'll get into some of these here to talk about it. Trump tells Tucker Carlson he should not have been fired by Fox. President Trump said, I think it was a terrible move getting rid of you. You're number one on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings doing this crazy forum than you're using than probably the debate. Trump then blasts Christie, saying savage maniac. Trump criticized fellow Republican primary contender Chris Christie, characterizing his campaign strategy as he solely runs on the basis of let's get Trump. And he talks about him betraying him, et cetera, et cetera. Trump then attacks Barr after Tucker raised the Epstein report. When questioned about former Attorney General William Barr's report on Epstein's death, Trump shifted to critique Barr's approach to the 2020 election fraud claims, stating Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either. He said he did, and he pretended he did. And then he continues, Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. Then Carlson asked Trump if he thinks someone is plotting to kill him. Directly, he asked this multiple times. Carlson asked, the next stage is violence. Are you worried that they're going to try to kill you? Why wouldn't they try to kill you? Honestly, Trump responded by expressing his faith in the intelligence of the American people, stating, I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are, and then while dismissing the criminal indictments he faces as bullshit. Then on January 6th, political violence, he stated, towards a civil war, that there's a possibility this could lead to a civil war. That was kind of talked about. Then Trump questions Biden's competence. Trump said, I think he is the most corrupt president we've ever had, and he also has distinction of being the most incompetent. I think he looks terrible on the beach. And I think Tucker said with his chicken legs or skinny legs, whatever he's got. And then he said, I only call one person at a time crooked. It used to be Crooked Hillary, but now it's Crooked Joe. So what was it for you when you saw the Tucker Trump interview?
I thought, and I think Kelly mentioned this earlier, Pat, the fact that it was a chill conversation, it wasn't crazy. He wasn't trying to act in front of an audience. There was nothing going on. It was one-on-one, and it's like, bro, he's the boss. He's the number one. And to be honest with you, I don't think it wasn't anything impressive. I think it was the tactics of airing it when they did, Pat. And like you said, that alliance right there is going to be that for the future of the whole Trump thing. That right there is the alliance of the future, because I think Tucker is taking this to run for president when it's time. That's it.
Yeah. Look, the words are almost meaningless to me.
Yeah.
It's just sort of Trump, Tucker, the symbolism of it during the Republican presidential debate.
Yeah.
And these two, Tucker would typically be like moderating something like this, and Trump would be center stage at something like this. Neither of them are there. They're on the X app, Elon Musk's new project. They're just doing their thing. They could have talked about anything, literally anything. And if you're a MAGA crowd, if you're a Trump supporter, you'd soak it all up. If you're looking for another candidate, you would have been watching the debates. It's pretty much is what it is. Whether they talked Epstein or indictment or January 6th or immigration or China, whatever it is, it would have been sort of, as Trump famously said, I could go out and shoot someone on Fifth Avenue. I wouldn't lose a voter. Yeah. I literally believe that. I'm actually yearning for him the day to go shoot somebody in the face on Fifth Avenue. I'd like to see how that happens.
You're yearning? You're obviously joking when you're saying that.
No, I'd like to see if it. I'd like to see it.
All it was, Pat, was basically, hey, don't look at what they're doing over here. Yeah. I'm the man. Look at me. It wasn't something explosive. It wasn't crazy. I mean, he talked crap about what's her name, Kamala Harris. He said she talks in rhymes, and he made fun of her, which was hilarious. He goes, I went on the bus. They saw me on the, or something like that. He killed her. He actually spoke positive about Newsom, which was kind of weird. He goes, the policies are horrible, but I like the guy. He's a good-looking guy.
I've always gone along.
I've always gone along with him. I know how to speak with him. He did the what's it called? But yeah, the Epstein thing was kind of awkward because he he didn't give a straight answer. He's like, he might have, I don't know. He might have killed himself.
Why do you think he tiptoed around the Epstein
I
thing?
don't
He's usually
know.
very direct.
Yeah, I really don't know.
He's hung out with Epstein a bunch.
But
so
Rob, he called him the Manchurian candidate. And if you guys know what that is,
Joe Biden,
that's, if you guys have seen the movie, like, that's not a good title to call
I'll say one more thing about Trump. There's people who will never leave him, and there's people that have left him in droves. Who am I talking about? The MAGA community, the MAGA crowd, they're not going anywhere. They're doubling down. They're going to be there for him. You know that he has that base. But it's also very interesting to me who he did call out yesterday. So he called out Bill Barr, right? Obviously Pence, he called him out, especially the one thing Pence had to say is that he chose the Constitution over Trump. And then Trump obviously rebutted today. I never asked you to do anything. But just look at Trump's inner circle over the last 4 or 5 years since his presidency. Very few are left. Pence is gone. Chris Christie, who was his debate advocate, right?
Yeah.
Gone. Bill Barr, who was his attorney general, gone. General Mattis, General Kelly, Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State,
Was the
all
CIA,
gone.
Who was the CIA guy? The bigger guy, Pat? Who was it, Rob? He was the head of the CIA. Damn it.
I don't know, but they're all gone. Oh,
He's
Mike,
gone too.
Mike Pompeo, Secretary. Well, he was Secretary of State. Gone.
Yeah, he was in the CIA.
Hell, even Omarosa's gone. So he's gonna have to replenish his inner circle.
Yeah.
But power to the people. The MAGA community loves him. But anyone who's been in Trump's orbit is nowhere to be found. It'd be interesting to see if literally Jared and Ivanka are even going to come back.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the good and the bad.
I think there's, how you talk about for in 2020 people voted for what? They voted for
Against
exactly.
They would have voted for a
except.
ham sandwich
It could
other than Trump.
it could have been called anything
So-
except.
They would have voted for Weekend at Bernie's, which they did.
Exactly.
Sure. So they exactly. So but the question is, so now everything that they said about him at the time, 80% of it is all false. And it came out with Twitter files knowing if the New York Post article wouldn't have been held back the way the administration reached out to hold it back, Trump's probably the president. Okay.
agree.
If COVID doesn't happen, Trump's the president. Even with COVID happening, Trump got a project, what do you call it?
Warp speed.
Warp speed for vaccine, those who wanted the vaccine. He got that done for them. That's the guy who got it done, and then they announced it 3 days after the election was over with. There's so many things that points at this thing. So, the voter, there's a part of the voter, Adam, that, and I don't know if it's fully there. I think there's a part of the voter with him that's like, how many more things you're going to make up about this guy that I'm supposed to believe? And just like some people said, anything but Trump in 2020, that camp, there's also a camp right now that says, I wonder what this guy's going to do when he comes in and wins. There is a community there. Is that enough to win the presidency? I don't know. Does Biden have enough right now to beat Trump? I also don't think Biden has a great resume that if they go neck and neck, it's not like one is doing that much better than the other guy. I think it's such an evenly matched thing that for the Biden people that want, for them to think 2024 is going to be the same as 2020, they're absolutely naive to think it's the same thing. They were one New York Post article away from Trump being a president, period.
Yep.
That was a done deal, right? They were one COVID situation away from him being a president. Done deal. So that's that part. There's a
Wait till that happens again, though.
what? A COVID?
Something
Masks?
is gonna
It's a lot of people that are talking about that.
You're saying
Yeah.
if it's September, October 2024, and it's neck and neck, you don't think something's going to come out of the woodworks about Trump?
I am not.
Bet on it.
I am convinced this guy scares the people who are the establishment folks who have such that card that they've been using to get access to so many different things. They're dying to be this guy, but they want this guy's life without earning what this guy's done to earn the life. They want to be cool like him. They want to go to the parties like he did. They want people to love and be admiring him the way he has his father.